Hey class, I've got two things to try to show you here today. The first is this article, Slave Ideology and Biblical Interpretation. You can find it in Doc Sharing, written by Katie Geneva Canon. It's an early piece of her work, and I'd like to direct any of you who are worried about how to write a 15-page research paper to this article. It's a great model for you. This is about a 10-page article is all, plus its references after that. And that probably equates to 15 to 20 pages of 1.5 space text. So it's about the right size. And she does a very nice job in here. You got 15 pages. This is where structure supports creativity. Let's go 5, 5, and 5, figuring to yourself, if I divide the paper into 3 steps, and each of those steps gets about equal weight, then I have made a logical structure that says these 3 elements are of equal importance, and if you have these 3, you can understand my larger point. So if we look here, it takes her, here's her introduction. She sets the context. It takes her 4 paragraphs to set the context before she comes up to her thesis paragraph. And here it is. Drawing principally upon socio-ethical sources of the late 18th and early 19th century. So those of you who love history, she's looking at the late 1700s, early 1800s. To investigate 3 intellectual hierarchical constructs, right? These are constructs that created that color line. They created a hierarchy that lie at the center of Christian antebellum society. So before the Civil War, Christian society, she says, she has discovered 3 major mythologies that Christians told themselves that substantiated their claims to racial superiority in their lives. And so she's set these up as the 3, 1, 2, 3. Now a reader who's going through this knows where she's going, what's coming first, what's coming second, what's coming third, and has very specific points they can say, well, did she, in fact, answer the question, at what point and under what conditions did Americans of African descent lose their status as members of the moral universe? Now, all of us have got to have wondered at some point when we read Equiano, for example, how was it that people who were praying and reading nevertheless were able to put Africans into a category that belonged outside the moral universe of love thy neighbor as thyself? How did that happen? She's going to look at that. Secondly, what are the ethical grounds that make the formula for heathen conversion intrinsically wrong? So she's going to look at the ethics of what Christians were telling themselves about how important heathen conversion was. And then third, what are the hermeneutical distortions? And hermeneutical means interpretation. Think about Hermes, right? The god who goes from humans to the gods. He's the guy who makes the link, the interpretive link, because humans can't talk to and understand God. Hermes is the messenger god. When humans are doing theology, when humans are reading sacred books, they are doing hermeneutical, they are doing interpretive work. So what are the hermeneutical distortions that shape the slavocracy's polemical patterns of biblical propaganda? How then were people drawing from the Bible to establish that the Bible says this slavery is the right thing to do? Again, any of you who are history buffs, any of you who have been wondering, why was Cone so upset about white theology? This will give you a nice 100-year picture of how white Christianity was justifying slavery. And it might be a satisfying piece of historical study for you as well. So, just want to let you know that's there.